Right, folks, just as a little side note or side video, I want to talk about my new helmets that were sent to me by Bike Gear and PE, Harold and Matthew. Thank you so much. And compare it to my previous helmet, the UVEX. And yes, I still have Kevin with me and get his input on what he's wearing, why, and also what does he think about my new helmet. So, without any further ado, this helmet is the Desert Fox. They have quite a few configurations as far as color is concerned. I chose to go with a white one with a bit of a decal just to make it more visible. It comes with two peaks. It comes with this standard peak that you see on the helmets. It kind of breaks the white a little bit for me, so that's why I didn't go with the second peak. They supply you with the second peak and it's a white peak, so it'll be a little bit too white for me. But you're free to chop and change and change the configuration. This is a 3-in-1 helmet. It comes with the peak. You can take the peak off and have just the visor down like a normal sport bike helmet, or you can take the visor out, leave the peak and put goggles on like a typical Enduro type helmet, or you can take both off and only have the helmet, you know, without a peak and any visor. So there are those configurations that they give you, the Desert Fox helmet. As far as anything else is concerned with regards to comparison with the UVEX had a little adjustment built on the top here where you could slide or dip the peak further forward so you can get more coverage from the sun. This one doesn't have it. Not that I minded, but this morning when I rode up here, and by the way, we're sitting here again at 305 on Kingsway in Manzum, Texas, or a Manzum Toti if you don't know what a Manzum, Texas means. You know what Manzum, Texas means?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Been here before.
That's it. So, and it's a lovely venue. If ever you're up here and you want to have a place to stay, or you want to have breakfast, or just have a beautiful view like we have here this morning, 305 on Kingsway, that's the place to be. And that's where Kevin, where Kevin chooses to stay when he comes this way.
Lovely coffee shop here.
There we go. So again, totally, the peak can come off completely, visor can come out. I like that. Not that I would use that because I ride DP, so it won't be necessary for me to take any of these things off. What I like about the visor though, compared to the UVEX was quite clunky opening and closing. Almost, I'm not going to say that. I almost said almost like an ATOS door, but I might get in trouble. I said it, whatever. So, but this one closes up quite nicely. You can't even hear it. I mean, listen to that. It's also quite solid, the opening and closing. So it's got your totally to the top position to open the visor completely, and then it has 2 clips and then closed. Now, I prefer that one when I hit down. I'm not sure about you, but to have more air coming in because you're not riding fast enough for the air to be forced into the vents. So opening it up like this would give some air coming in properly, and it still covers your eyes. You know, and if you go one up again, then your eyes will be exposed all the way up. But the way that it closes, I love that. It's nice and soft and still very solid. The peak as well. You know, on the UVEX I had. Not that I'm hitting UVEX here. It's just I've got something better. The peak, when I was going at speed, you would have the peak warping. This one doesn't. The stability on this helmet is definitely better than what I experienced on the UVEX. I haven't had any other helmets on my head as far as DP helmets are concerned, adventure helmets are concerned, but I found that this peak is nice and solid, and I don't get any buffeting as far as when I'm riding in wind. Noise levels, nice and comfortable. I deliberately rode this helmet without my earplugs, something I don't always do, but just to feel if it's annoying, and it is not. So if you're not an earplug person, shame on you, but if you don't wear earplugs, you won't get blasted by excess wind noise. The other fittings in the bottom is typical, as normal. It's the ratchet clip on the bottom, doesn't have a double D, and it has little tags, pull tags, for if you're in a crash, the paramedics get to you, they can pull these tags and remove the cheek pads for an easier removal of the helmet from your head. They don't have to wiggle it anything like that. So they pull these tags out, and I find that quite nifty. I didn't expect that on this helmet, and when I got there, I unpacked it, I thought, hey, yo, this is quite neat. pull tags to easily pull the cheek pads out. Now you mentioned that some helmets have an inscription area where you can put your ice details. Once the cheek pads comes out, your details are on the cheek pad. That's quite neat.
The paramedics in the UK are trained to look for a little red dot sticker on the side of the helmet.
Yeah.
And if that red dot sticker is there, then they know that there is an ICE card inside the helmet with all of your personal details.
Sure. Now, there's another idea to have your details. There are so many devices, the strap around your arm, a little bullets, and so many things, a tattoo or whatever the case may be. I think you can't do enough to have that information on you, either on your phone, if you can speak for yourself and access the information. The vents on the top of the helmet have little, I'm used to slide forward and backwards little vents. This one is flipped to the side, and it's quite easy to access with your glove.
Yeah.
So I just leave it open all the time, unless you hit heavier rain, you can probably close it, but to me it just stays open. And it has a nice little rubber ring around the bottom part, and the helmet on the back I found slightly lower down than the UVX, and that's quite nice for a lower head or upper neck support. If you're not wearing a liat, but this doesn't replace the liat, don't get me wrong, but it's a nice little touch about this rubber on the bottom to offer additional support for the back of your head. Otherwise, on the inside, the helmet is nice and comfy. Little chin piece here to just help filter excess noise out. The inside and the front of the helmet here is lined with felt. Did you say don't sneeze?
Don't sneeze.
Don't sneeze. So you must keep it in. That's quite a nice thing. Not that your mouth will get to that far forward, but it's nice if you fit an inside mic on your helmet that it can already stick to that felt with a Velcro little tag. That really helps. What I did find on this helmet though, seeing that I'm carrying the Sena 10C helmet comms and camera units, I'll fit it afterwards. It actually has pockets on the inside specifically made for those round speakers you get for your Bluetooth headsets. It's specifically made. I thought, wow, that's quite neat. It's either for your big ears, if they were round, or but you can feel it there. It's perfectly round, and it fits the speaker for the headset perfectly. Some helmets don't, and then you have to stick your head in there, and that speaker just touches the top part of your ear, and yes, like after a couple of minutes of riding, your ear is so sensitive because the speaker is gnawing at the top of the ear, and this way the speaker is against your ear, but it's not pressing against your ear. I found that quite a nice touch. Apart from that, the build quality, the weight of the helmet, I mean, Kevin, it's not a heavy helmet.
No, I mean, I can see the build quality is, to me, this looks very much like a premium helmet. So it's not something that I would object to wearing by any stretch of the imagination. As you said, a lot of the features, very well built, very solid, rugged. This is not loose and floppy. On your visor, you have a really big tab here for getting to it with gloves on.
Yeah.
So that's great. As you mentioned, all the vents and the lining on the inside, great. The headphone pockets for the speakers, also very common now on premium helmets.
Okay, yeah.
Some of them even have pockets that they open up at the back here for battery and communication comms and things like that. But no, this to me is a great helmet. And what I like about this one as well is from the back, it is primarily white. So that people following you, even in bad weather, things like that, it's not a black or a dark helmet. So it's still very, very visible, especially from the back.
Good stuff. Folks, that's it. The Desert Fox helmet from bikegear.co.za. Speak to Matthew, Ati, or Harold. If you can find Harold in the country, he's out and about like Kevin most of the time, fishing and finding new products. Price-wise, I'm going to say it, they retail from 2,600 Rand for this helmet.
That's a good price.
2,600 Rand for this helmet retail. So there you have it. Bikegear.co.za. The URL is in the link of this video and also on the screen. Give them a shout and give this Desert Fox a spin. I know they have the carbon fiber one as well. I'm not a huge fan of wearing carbon fiber on my head, especially when lightning is busy up in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't want to light myself up like a match. But this polycarbonate helmet is more than I need on my head right now.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's got the solid chin bar as well. When it comes to overlanding and doing long distance trips, I mean, in South Africa, we don't really get stopped at police stops, roadblocks and things like that often. So opting for a solid chin bar is probably a better idea. It's stronger, safer, and lighter on your head. But I normally ride, when I do my long distance trips, I ride with a flip up helmet. You'll find quite a lot of long distance riders, especially the guys that ride the small motorbikes, will ride with open face helmets. I'm not a fan of open face helmets, but one of the things that you do want to do when you stop at a roadblock in another country is you want to stop, you want to turn your engine off, you want to expose your face so they can see you, you want to smile. Doesn't matter what language you speak, we all smile in the same language. Take your sun visor up and then greet them. Good morning, hello, how are you? And then you'll find that the roadblock is infinitely easier to pass through than if you just rocked up with a full face helmet, with a blacked out visor, leave your engine running, revving the thing. Yes, what do you want? What do you want? Why do you stop me? What the hell's your problem? You've lost. But so that's why I wear the flip up.
Some people prefer wearing the flip up helmet so they can quickly drink some water, or for those who smoke, quickly get a smoke or something like that. So that's one benefit I can feel, that just quickly flip it up, take a water, flip it back down again, off you go. Sometimes you go into town at slow speed and it's quickly just get some fresh air on your face and you open the
What I would say with that is there is only one helmet, to my knowledge, that is homologated in both the closed and open position, and that's the Shark Evo.
There we go.
With fantastic, beautiful helmet. I have one in London, which I used to use for my cafe racer, which was great as you're bombing around the streets, getting to the Ace Cafe, then it's closed, but then sort of like 20 meters before the gate, you sort of flip it open and then cruise into the Ace Cafe with it open. All nice and cool as well. But any of the other flip-up helmets, like the Schubert, the E1 or the Touratech, the ones that flip up and stay up in the up location, that is illegal to ride with them up.
I think it also creates a sail.
It does.
You start
it puts a lot of strain on your neck and everything like that. So I don't like to ride like that. And stopping to drink for water and things like that. If I'm stopping for a break, I want to get off the bike. I want to walk around. I want to relax. I want to sort of de-stress a little bit. So keeping a helmet on, with that weight and it up. I personally take the helmet off, earplugs out, gloves off, jacket off.
There we go.
Hang it on the back of the bike. Spend 10 minutes. Calming down to a wild frenzy, and then gear up again and shoot.
One thing I must say I miss about the UVEX, or two things I miss about the UVEX, is that adjustment nuts on a bolt on the top that can adjust the visor a little bit. I kind of like that. And the tinted visor, or the tint on the UVEX helmet was really light tint, but it was enough to keep this sunlight out of my face. With this clear visor, we must check with the folks at Bike Gear if you do get an option for a tinted visor in any configuration. It'll be a nice touch though. It doesn't have an internal visor that you can flip down like
what
you can
I
have
do notice on that visor is there's no pin locks. So there's no holes for the pin locks. If it had pin lock holes, then you could get a tinted pin lock as well.
So now you'd have to wear your sunglasses. I tried that earlier to put my shades on. It doesn't have glass seating, but it also, with the thick frame on my sunglasses, it wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't gnawing into my head or going all skew when it goes in and it stays in one position. You mentioned other glasses as well with the very thin little stems going to the back, and it stays on your head quite nicely. So if you had to wear glasses or shades on this, glasses or sunglasses, it will definitely accommodate that. It's just that I kind of like the tint, and the tint on the UVEX was so that you could actually ride at night with it as well. It wasn't so dark that you would have a problem if you go into night riding after a day into night. It wouldn't be a problem. You have to flip the visor up and ride with your eyes exposed. But that's something I miss on this helmet, is the tint options. I'm sure Matthew or Harold, you guys will give us an idea if the tinted visor is an option on this. That'll be great.
And obviously at the price point, you wouldn't expect to have retractable internal sun visors and things like that. But the helmet that I ride with, a completely clear visor. I wouldn't go with anything else. Pin lock for rain and mist, but it has an internal drop-down sun visor for riding during the day.
I know that the vents come up here right behind the visor, and it extends to the bottom part of the inside of the helmet. So it does come into the helmet and it pushes up. So I haven't had any riding where my visor would mist up, and there are other things you can put on the inside of your visor, like a slice of potato and wax it or whatever you want to call it. There are other ways. So I start to test that though. One thing I will not test with this helmet is crash test it. But I'm sure when I looked and I pulled the comfort padding aside to look at the other padding on the inside of the helmets, it interlocked. So that's quite nice. When it interlocks, it creates that crumple zones in certain areas, and it grabs your head and keeps it in one position. Like I had with 2008 when I had my crash, my Shark RSX held my head together. I'm going grey now, but I think the stuff inside my head is still okay. But not a bad helmet at all, and I thank the guys from Bike Gear again for giving me this helmet. Until next time, we test something else or talk to you about something else. Stay safe out there and
look up.
Look up. Thank you.